Assalamu alaikum. This is Lalarukh and today we have with us a very renowned singer, actor, musician, Nouman Javaid. So we'll be asking him about his experiences, how he works, and a lot more things that you probably haven't known before. So British Pakistani Women's Society brings you Nouman Javaid today. So let's hear him out. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and it's just a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me. Your internet is like stuck. Okay. In the times of Corona, of course, everybody's using internet, so it can get a bit difficult. Am I still live and alone? All right. What's happening? I'm just sitting here.
Okay, she will be back. I think उसके internet में थोड़ा सा problem है, but that's fine. We'll carry on.
Uh-huh.
ठीक है, because we're
Okay.
already live. I'm just asking her to come back.
All right. But is this all going live? All of
Yes, it's
this?
going live. That's fine. It's okay.
जो लोग हमें देख रहे हैं और वो सोच रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे होस्ट क्यों नहीं है, that's because internet is messed up these days.
हाँ, काफी ज्यादा आज हो गया. Otherwise का होता नहीं है. तो
But you know what? This is what makes life so much fun. It's so unpredictable. Anything can happen. Anything goes.
Yeah, that's true.
And I like that.
That's true. It happens. चलें, she's back. लाला आपके इंटरनेट में इतना ज्यादा मसला है कि हमें आपकी स्क्रीन ऑन ऑफ नजर आ रही है.
I don't understand this because
Just refresh it again. Okay. No.
No fair. Why do you even put this one on? Zero.
Now the screen is stuck. Lala's screen is
Yeah.
stuck. And
Refresh it again because
but prior to that, it actually looked a bit cool because it was as if that she was like in a club and the lights were going on and off.
Is it already?
And now it's something else.
I don't
With the
know
emojis.
what's happening.
your mobile is just fine.
be.
Internet क्योंकि because I'm sending you a message and it's not going.
I have no idea because everything else is working. I'm getting everything right now.
Really?
And I guess we are live in this.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we are live and
It's
I
pretty
love it.
interesting
It's
that
so trippy. It's so trippy right now. Your screen is just like moving like
It's,
this.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
what it's like.
it's happening.
I'm doing such cool moves that I could never do in my life.
ये बात, ये चीज, यही चाहिए जिंदगी में.
ये तो हो नहीं सकता था. You are so lucky for me that moves that I've been waiting for all my life, they're happening.
My goodness.
मेरे पैदा होने का किसी को कुछ तो कोई फायदा हुआ, you know?
It just made my day and I think my life. And I think audience is enjoying it because it's totally giving me a very cool look. Guys, I have a talent to
Like this.
see. While I host a guy with talent, you don't think that I'm talentless. You see that? So I think I'm audible fine.
Yeah,
I
you're
would
audible.
just go
Actually,
with the
it
flow.
works for me because at least there is no delay in the audio.
So perfect. So starting from your career, how did
Okay.
you get into acting? कैसे मतलब शौक था एक्टिंग का सिंगिंग का किस चीज का शौक था एंड व्हाट ब्रॉट यू हियर
All right. Growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. While when I was in my teenagers and all, whilst I was studying, but when my studies they were like terminated by my parents, and would you believe it? I never cleared my 10th grade. They didn't let me, and I was an A grade student. And then I had nothing else to do. Then I had a falling out with my family, and I was kicked out of the house. And I thought to myself, what else can I do? Because studies without your parents' support, and especially medical studies without your parents' support, that would never happen. And I was like, okay, what else can I do? And I've always had this wonderful connection with music. I've always loved movies, and especially mainly
Mm-hmm.
movies. I think it was the movies that brought me into the showbiz world. Music is just a natural language, like a universal language. You just connect to it. So I just had this artistic soul which connected to anything that was artistic, and I could pick up on things quicker than most people that I know. I still can. And that is how I got into music. I was like, what should I do? And the only thing that appealed to me, other than helping others, was music and movies, because that is what arts is. It's just amazing. And I think I just had to do it. That is how I became a musician first, and then an actor. Of course, modeling happens and stuff. Now I'm directing as well. So there are a lot of things. I think we only have one life, and one should explore as much as they can, because बार बार तो पैदा नहीं होना, so might as well just get done with it.
Oh, perfect. So I am still doing these online moves. I
You
am
are
totally loving it
awesome.
that
You
we
are awesome
probably
right
never
now.
had a
You're
live
you're
session like this.
you're like a GIF. You're just moving like this.
It looks like I know, right? I'm doing that MJ moves that like I said, I could never do in real life because
Yep,
I'm a very average dancer and I love to dance anyways. So
that's
you
good.
said a wonderful thing. We have one life and we should do it. And right, like I am doing this interview like this right now.
Hmm.
First experience, and I'm going to remember it forever. So, what did you enjoy the most? Like exploring yourself. I'm sure one after the other you do something, and then it gets really interesting. You find out कि पहले जो आप कर रहे थे उसमें तो आपको मजा आ ही रहा था, but now what you're doing is rather more interesting. So कौन सा ऐसा फेज था जो सबसे ज्यादा enjoy किया? Acting, direction, singing, or you know what was the best one so far? So
I
far, I
think
would say, because I know best is yet
the
to.
best one is always, always, always when I'm performing on stage. Everything comes after that.
Mm-hmm.
But the minute I am on stage, it's like a different world. I go into a very comfortable zone. I'm never scared of going onto the stage. I'm never, what you call it, intimidated, even if there's an artist of the caliber of Rahat Fateh Ali Khan in front of me. Rahat Bhai is absolutely wonderful,
Mm-hmm.
marvelous. He's a master of whatever he does. And I've just never been scared of being on stage. I think I belong on stage. But then again, right after being on stage, the second most interesting and most fun part of music is, and movies or direction, whatever it is about the idea, how you conceive it and how you go into it, the creative part of it. Yeah. So being on
Mm-hmm.
stage mainly, if you need one answer, that is like being on stage.
So you like to connect and perform with the audience, and it gives you that feel that where you can actually be yourself and get into
Actually,
that
it becomes
mode where
very honest.
the
It
actual
becomes
self
very
of you
honest.
comes out.
Yeah. When you're on stage, you are who you are, regardless of however much you want to act, but you become the person you truly are. And it's like when you do something on stage and you get a response right there then from the audience, either they will love you or they would hate you, or they would have this mix of like, yeah, he was okay, decent, and the blah. But you get that feedback right there and then. And when you get that wonderful feedback of appreciation and when they like it, I think that's just a rush unlike any other rush you've had. Like you can make money, but you won't have that kind of rush. Being on stage and getting that applause and that
Mm,
once more thingy. I think that's the only reason we do it. That's the only reason we want to do it. And anything but that, I think if you have any other reason other than
mhm.
this, you are in the wrong kind of business and you're not an artist. For an artist, it's all about appreciation. It's about nothing else but appreciation.
Absolutely. But I'm an artist myself. Like I am an architect turned civil servant. So basically, I'm an artist. I went to NCA and I
Oh,
explored myself in. So I know that being an artist, at times you put in your best and you put in your heart and soul in your work. and there is a concept behind what you do, and then the audience don't understand it or they don't connect to it. Have you ever experienced this phase?
Yeah, of course. Like the thing is, for instance, uh, when you talk to children, if you were to tell them something, like for instance, if there's a kid who is in the third grade, and if you start talking to him using the analogies and the terminologies that you would use in your like in your college, they won't understand. For instance, a doctor telling a child
Hmm.
कि बेटा आपके सर में दर्द है और आपको ये दवाई खानी है, simpler as opposed to understanding बेटा आपके medulla oblongata के अंदर कुछ हुआ है और उसकी वजह से I have to
Hmm.
subscribe you these broad spectrum medication and blah blah blah. They would lose interest. So it's just like that. People are simple. They want to listen to simple things. So at times, artists, because they think outside the box, so and the people, they live
Hmm.
inside the box. You understand what I'm trying to say? People live inside the box,
Yeah,
and
I
artists,
totally
they
understand.
want to
Yeah.
live outside the box. So when that happens, there is like this communication gap. Some people, they are wise enough, smart enough, big enough to understand what the other artist is trying to say, but not all people. People are here to have entertainment. They just want to have their own time because they are working on their jobs. The jobs that they work on are absolutely something that they hate, but they're still at it because they got to earn a living. सो दे जस्ट वांट
Hmm.
एंटरटेनमेंट. जब भी उनको फ्री वक्त मिलता है, कुछ भी ऐसा होता है, तो दे जस्ट वांट एंटरटेनमेंट. And artists, they think that I have said something wise, I have said something that's more emotional, and I've said something that's new, never been done before. But maybe that was not the goal of the people. Because if I go and most people, when they go to watch movies,
Hmm.
they want to be entertained. They don't want to see something that's drama, that's slow, that's parallel cinema. Yes, there's an audience for it. People who have had all these luxuries in their lives, and later down the road they want to like watch something that's slow paced. But most people, they just want to have their entertainment. They are spending their 1,500 to 2,000 rupees, and they want to get the best out of those 2 hours or 3 hours. So it's only as simple as that. Yes, there will be times people will not understand you, and you just have to live with it. And people have a right, like most artists, they become bitter. उनको बात नहीं समझ आई, मेरा गाना नहीं समझ आया, मैंने ये बनाया था,
Hmm.
ये लोग इस चीज के लिए तैयार नहीं है, बाहर के
Hmm.
ममालिक में ऐसा होता है. But that's just negativity. Like, make something that they can understand. For instance, you speak English or Urdu or Punjabi. If I converse with you in Chinese, you won't understand it.
That's true. But
So
then
it's
again,
simple as that.
like, do you agree with the fact, like you spoke, one thing very important, कि artists become bitter and उनको गुस्सा आता है कि समझ नहीं आई ये वो. But then again, artists are the ones who claim कि हम बड़े sensitive हैं.
जब आप
We are very
सेंसिटिव होते हैं
sensitive to
तभी
our
आपको ज्यादा
surroundings and
गुस्सा
stuff.
आता है.
Do you think it's self
जो
contradictory
लोग
at all? Not in that sense, like, understanding sense के अंदर जो sensitive कहते हैं वो sensitive नहीं, reactive sense में नहीं. But because
हम्म,
बहुत से लोग काम कर रहे होते हैं उन grounds के ऊपर, जैसे social issues के ऊपर. For example, as a painter, if you paint something that shows a bitter side of your society. For example, if you paint a hungry child, and then there are people who come up with an idea that there is no point painting hungry child. No one wants to see that. So, आप जिस सेंस के अंदर आपका पर्सपेक्टिव और लोगों का पर्सपेक्टिव ऑपोजिट होता है. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आप व्यूअर बन के अगर देखो अपने काम को, तो इज देयर एनी मोमेंट जहाँ पे आपको अपना काम बुरा लगे, यार ये मैंने क्या किया.
आ, हाँ,
हैपेंस टू
बहुत बार
मी, ऑनेस्टली.
मुझे अपना हर गाना, हर काम, हर चीज हमेशा बुरी लगती है. Whenever I'm doing it, even when I'm done with it, I personally
हम्म.
don't really like it. I've never liked any of the things that I've done. But मुझे इतनी समझ ज़रूर है कि this is the best that I could do in the circumstances and with the given resources that I've had in the time that I've had.
हम्म.
And of
हम्म.
course, everything has the margin to be improved. But then again, you have to draw a line कि मुझे कब तक करना है, कितना करना है. Because आप सारी ज़िंदगी एक ही गाने को लेके नहीं बैठ सकते, सारी ज़िंदगी एक ही फिल्म को लेके, एक ही एक्टिंग को लेके नहीं बैठ सकते कि मुझे इसको ठीक करते जाना है, ठीक करते जाना है, ठीक करते जाना है. Because there's so many different dimensions. There's so many different
That's
dimensions
true.
that one can go into, and it's just about you need to draw a line that this is the best I could do and I need to go ahead with it. And that thing that you mentioned about an artist being sensitive, not in the terms that they are sensitive, that they get emotional and all riled up and like a little hysterical at times, but they're also supposed to be sensitive in order to understand the pain and the suffering that people go through, and to understand their point of view. Being sensitive also means that you should be able to understand what the other person is saying or what the other person is going through. And yes, a true artist would actually understand that. A true artist would actually feel, they would be able to sympathize, empathize with people around them. And if they have it, it makes them a very nice, kind person. Emotional, so emotional people tend to get a bit more frustrated and angrier. And especially when you're up against a society which is like Pakistan, which is still confused. We have this society is still deciding that are we religious or are we secular or are we somewhere in between. And हमारे यहाँ तो म्यूजिक को आज भी हराम कहा जाता है, मूवीज को बुरा कहा जाता है, उनमें काम करने वाले लोगों को बुरा समझा जाता है. Besides the fact that everybody is on TikTok right now and everybody is making so many videos and all those pranks and blah blah blah. So our society is a bit contradictory, and that is what frustrates an artist because there's so much contradiction, there's so much hypocrisy. Hypocrisy actually sums it very well, sums it up very well. And just like that, you're gone. I can't see you. Before I was looking at you doing all this. Now you're not there.
I am here. If the host can,
There she
I'm
is.
here. You can see
Yeah,
me.
now I can
Yep.
see you. Yeah.
Finally, and I am back in my normal pace. Damn, I'll miss my action. Damn. But anyways, but
Now I can't hear you. I think you just need to put up a picture because your internet is acting up. Just put up a display picture and then we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I think because of the internet, you might not be able to be show your video and also have the voice call thingy going in.
you can hear me now?
And it's so humid. It's so humid. Ah, I don't like humidity. I see your picture. I don't see it moving, and I definitely can't hear you. There she goes.
I'm audible now.
Ah, hot.
You don't have your AC on? You're feeling very hot right now.
I don't. No, no, no. This year I decided not to turn on the air conditioning just because I wanted to go back to my roots. You know, when I was kicked out of the house, I had no money, no food, and I was homeless. And there were times when I didn't have money to eat, and of course there was no question of having a an air conditioning. So this year I just made like that pact with myself that I will not turn on the AC and I would just go through the extreme heats and the extreme weathers
Decided
the
to go
way,
back to it.
yeah, people go through it. Because you know what, this, when you're successful you don't learn, you move far away from the things that truly matter. So I don't want to be in that position when I forget where I came from, what my true roots are. Yes, of course, my I come from a family which was doing very well, mashallah, because I come from a jeweler's family and everything. But then again, I this Nouman Javaid became Nouman Javaid on his own because he, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
Allah willed it and Allah did it for me. I had nothing to do with it myself. But that passion, that current was going away from me when I was in that room with no fan, even. Like I was living on the third or the fourth floor of this building and I had no fan. And I had to go through this June, July summer of Pakistan, especially Lahore. It's so damn hot. And that brought out Dard Tanhai from within. And that made me, forced me to write Machala. So this year round, I made a pact with myself that I will not turn on the air conditioning. And that's what I'm doing. Weird, I know, but I do these things. लो जी ये इंटरव्यू तो तंग करेगा.
Hey, yeah, I'm here. I was listening to all this, and I have an additional question after this.
Uh-huh.
If you when you were kicked out of the house and
Yeah.
you hadn't done anything, so उस टाइम पे तो फ्यूचर का नहीं पता था कि सक्सेसफुल हो
Mhm.
जाएंगे, फेमस हो जाएंगे. सो द फर्स्ट टाइम यू गॉट फेम, हाउ डिड इट हिट यू?
Actually,
सर
weirdly,
पे
I
चढ़ा,
always
थोड़ी देर
knew,
के लिए चढ़ा, ये तो बाद में
you
ही है,
know,
बाद में रियलाइजेशन
the very weirdly, I have always known where I'm going to fall. I have always known कि क्या होगा. It's just like I have this intuition about things. I had no doubt that I would not make it big. I would not
है.
become famous. Well, making it big is like subjective. It totally varies from person to person what their
हम्म.
idea of
हम्म.
success is. But I always knew
हम्म.
that I would be doing something that was unique, and I had no doubts about that. So when I was kicked out, I wasn't really heartbroken. I wasn't really, oh, this happened, that happened. I'm going to go do drugs. I'm going to go do this and turn into a sour grape or whatever. No, I just kept
हम्म.
myself very positive, and I had faith in Allah, and Allah has always provided me with everything that I've always wished for. Even the things which weren't in my favor, which weren't good for me, Allah gave me them too, but
हम्म.
He took it away because Allah knows best. Who am I to question Allah?
हम्म.
Nobody, right? So I have always had this faith. And when I got famous, uh, I was the same guy that I was when I was not famous. Nothing really changed. Nothing really changed, to be very honest.
हम्म.
I'm still that guy. So it never really got to me.
And
Yes, I did
did
become a
it?
bit lazy. I did become a bit lazy because things got
हम्म.
a bit easier and people started knowing me. So I
हम्म.
was having my fun. And that's why I decided this year not to turn on the AC in my room, just so that I can go back to it. Because being human, you tend to get lazy and you forget where you're
हम्म.
coming
हम्म.
from. And I don't want to do that.
So, when did it change? Okay, आपसे आप तो change नहीं हुए. Did your surroundings change? Because there are fair weather friends that turn up when your good times are going, and वो बड़े
Oh,
फिर
yeah, yeah,
आपका
yeah.
काम जो उनको पहले trash लग रहा
Everybody.
होता है, वो फिर बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है. जो कह रहे होते हैं
Yep.
you will be wasted and all this, they all come back. So, how was that?
That was funny for me
I'm sure you
because
have gone through that.
I went through that because when I was away from the family, when I was kicked out, the girl I was with for like 10 years, she left me because she wasn't getting her gold jewelry and the blah, blah, blah. And she went off and she got
Hmm.
married to this guy, became his second wife or something like that. And,
Hmm.
and she abandoned me. And then everybody I knew, they abandoned me. And when I became
Hmm.
famous, the same people who had abandoned me, they were like, अरे वो तो मेरा cousin है, अरे वो तो मेरा भाई है, अरे वो तो दोस्त है अपना, अरे यार वो तो ये है. Well, that was sweet. That was
Hmm.
cute. I remember this one time there was this band, and I wasn't famous back then. And this band was
Hmm.
somewhat famous, like who are kind of famous,
Hmm.
but not really famous. But they had this thing, and I remember this one time, one of their members, he was my really dear friend, and who actually helped me out when I was homeless and shit. And
Hmm.
that guy, I went there to their jam, and the main lead singer was like, यार ये तुम किस तरह के लोगों को साथ ले आते हो बाहर बिठाओ इसको. And I
Hmm.
wasn't doing nothing. I was just sitting there. I would have only heard them sing, do their jam, and they
Hmm.
threw me out. And my friend was like so apologetic, and I was like, dude, I understand. He's just a douche. So
Hmm.
it's not no
Hmm.
reflection on you. I understand.
Hmm.
So I walked out. I stood out there for like an hour and a half, and once they were done with the jam, everything was gone. But then I became famous, and that same guy, he calls me and saying, "Yeah, Numan bhai, मेरा एक काम है, अगर आप वो काम करा देंगे." And I was like, "Sure, man." I never once told him that this is how you threw me out and this is how it felt back then because
Hmm.
that's not the kind of person I am. I would not take advantage of my position or my fortune and your
Hmm.
misfortune. आई वुड स्टे द सेम पर्सन आई एम. मैं आज से पहले जब मैं कुछ नहीं था जिस तरह लोगों को मिलता था आज भी वैसे मिलता हूँ.
Hmm.
मैं इससे बड़ा हो जाऊंगा तो भी मैं ऐसे मिलूंगा. आई विल नॉट चेंज बिकॉज आई थिंक इट्स beneath me to change
Hmm.
with the success that comes your way because
Hmm.
मौला अली का कॉल है कि पैसा दौलत और शोहरत इन जनरल एंड एवरीथिंग ये आने से
Hmm.
लोग बदलते नहीं हैं बेनकाब होते हैं.
True.
सो
Hmm.
I don't wear any masks. This is who I am. And I'll always be like this. I still sleep on the floor. I would do these weird experiments by turning off the air conditioning and I would just decide कि इस साल मुझे सिर्फ 1 लाख रुपया खर्चा करना है, and I would start spending just that 100,000 whole year.
Mm.
I would spend like 1,000 a month.
Mm.
I just keep doing these experiments. I don't know. It's just maybe I'm weird, probably.
No, or okay. So now this conversation is getting really interesting. One thing regarding like this interview, for example, I've never had this internet interesting this moves and all. So I'm the kind of person who would adjust to any situation. Like if something unexpected shows up, I would improvise and just go with the flow. Like you know,
Uh-huh.
how do you do it with life, or you are a kind of planner and who you would think कि नहीं मैं ऐसे करूंगा, or you would just go with the flow? Like what
Okay.
side would
The
you take?
thing is, I try to plan life. I'm not a dumb guy. I'm rather a very wise guy.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I planned something, never worked out. And every time
Mm-hmm.
Allah planned, it always worked. Even me not doing anything, that there were times I had to
Ah.
make no effort. And when Allah planned for me, it just happened. And when I planned, it just fell apart. So I have decided not to plan. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there is a certain kind of planning that I must do, that all right, I must abide by the laws and the teachings of my religion and also the society, that all right, waking up early is logically more beneficial to you physically, mentally, financially, because you get to work out more. That's just logic. So I just follow those logics, but I don't really make big plans.
Mm-hmm.
For instance,
Mm-hmm.
my big plan in life was, which completely fell apart. That was when I got married. All right, I thought that this would work out. Didn't work out. Absolutely didn't work out. And there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing else that I could do to save it. I did everything and anything in my power to save it. Didn't work
Mm-hmm.
because it was not meant to work. Because that
Mm-hmm.
person wasn't for me. I'm a simple, sweet, kind of laid back guy, and my goals in life are to live your life in the moment, be happy, and not worry about the future, because Allah takes care of it. Yes, I'm smart enough to have a saving for a rainy day, but I am not dumb enough to waste my entire life trying to earn money all the time and miss out on life, because this journey is basically life. ये जो मेरी जिंदगी है, यही ये जो जर्नी है, मेरा जो सफर है जिंदगी का, यही जिंदगी है. So I have to make the best of every moment. I want to be happy in every moment. So I'm not going to kill myself over trying to make more money, because no matter how much money I make, there will always be people who will have more money. So where do I draw the line? So I live in the moment. And then again, I thought this person was amazing for me. They said the right things and I got married to them, and didn't work out. Again, it didn't work out. Not because I did not want to work, you know, did not want it to work. I genuinely wanted it to work. I love this person. I could have died for this person, but it was just not meant to be. I wasn't wrong. Maybe that person wasn't wrong. Maybe just the time and this union wasn't meant to be. And so it didn't happen. Regardless of all the efforts that I could have done humanly possible, I did everything humanly possible. But it wasn't just meant to be. And that is what taught me everything happens for a reason. And I'm not going to interfere with the plans of the Lord Almighty. Because you know what? Whilst I've been the first time, when I was in my first relation, when I got married the first time, that it had a lot of negativity in it. I was never happy in that relation. I was always stressed, depressed, and I knew something was wrong. But because I wanted it to work out badly, I was trying everything that could be done. It's just meant to be. So that's why my planning is always that do your part, leave it to Allah. If it's meant to be, it'll be. If not, it won't.
All right. So, with that, like, we came down to the point. You mentioned that you would save for a rainy day, but not too much that you would, die for just making money.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
you are a philanthropist as well. How does that
yeah.
work? You have you're associated with some organization. You do it on your own. You have a certain way of doing
Yes.
it because
I on a
above
personal
all,
level,
our
I do a
religion,
lot of things.
everything, humanity comes first.
Yeah. On a personal
Hmm.
level, I do a lot of things, but I don't really like telling people when I'm doing the charity work and all of that because I think it's just, yeah,
Hmm.
why would you want to tell the
Hmm.
world that you're doing this, helping some people out? Yes, at times you need to be an inspiration, and for that, yes, at times I
Hmm.
do post certain things, but not always and not for
Hmm.
everything. And then I'm also a part of
Hmm.
the Rotary Club. We have a wonderful, wonderful, one of the most amazing club in Pakistan, at least. Not talking about the international, but it is called Rotary Clubs
Hmm.
of Lahore Gardens, and we have one of the most unique club, and we are always very upfront with all the disaster situations and the pandemic situations and you name it, and we are on it. So I am officially a part of them, and then I keep doing everything on because you know what I think, again, like I said, how long do you think that we live? An average human, they live around 60 years, 50 years, depending on the country they're coming from and living under the circumstances and the things that they live under. And
Hmm.
let's say 60 or 75 years even. But it has a limit. It expires. We will all expire one day or
Hmm.
the other. So, what am I taking with me and what am I leaving behind? These two questions have always bothered me. And I must leave behind a legacy of kindness. For me, leaving behind a legacy of
Hmm.
these big mansions and having these big companies and the money and becoming the Bill Gates and the Steve Jobs of the world, that means nothing. Yes, if I were rich enough, yes, I can
Hmm.
help more people. But leaving behind kindness,
Hmm.
leaving behind this example that yes, you can, even if you are doing things for others, you will still have a wonderful life. And that is how my life is, regardless
Hmm.
of however much I try to help people, I still have a wonderful life and nothing has been taken away from my life. For instance, if I help somebody with their financial thingy, and even I am low on money these days, everybody's low on cash, but still Allah provides
Hmm.
and my life is going well. And
Hmm.
then when I'll go to
So,
the
how was your
world
experience?
after, it will help me there as well.
Hmm. How was your experience with COVID? Like, all of a sudden we have this new normal. Uh, you sleep in one world and wake up in another, and then everyone
Yeah.
is going crazy over, uh, masks and stuff. And all of a sudden, the things that meant a lot for people are the same insignificant. You know, a part of us makes us feel like, this is a lesson, maybe reality check, or, self created problems. How did how would you define your experience with the COVID?
For me, I think this pandemic has shown me that people don't really care. I have seen the worst of people in this pandemic situation, and I thought of people as better than this, and I was wrong. You know
Hmm.
what? For instance, in this pandemic, in this COVID-19 situation, if I were to go out, firstly, I would wear everything that's protective so that I don't get infected, because when I come back, I don't want my family to get infected. And vice
Hmm.
versa, I must take precautions so that when I meet other people, when I go into, because of course life will go on. We just cannot stay in a room for as long as this COVID-19 is a threat, and until unless it dies down, then we go out. We have to make a living. We
Hmm.
have to occasionally go out. Yes, आप उसकी frequency कम कर देते हैं, लेकिन at least you still go out. So the frequency is
Hmm.
low, but when I go out, I make sure that I'm protected. And when I enter into another house, I make sure that I disinfect myself. I keep with myself this spray gun, and I have a solution of Dettol and chlorine in it so that I can disinfect myself. I'm drenched in all those liquids and fluids when I enter another house, and people at times they call me paranoid, and I keep telling them it's not about me being paranoid. It's about me being uh, responsible, that I don't bring anything into
Hmm.
your house and I don't take back anything to my house because there are people living there. Yes, this thing is not fatal for everybody, but then again, who is to say that who's going to be affected in the worst way and who's not? I cannot take that risk with
Hmm.
my friends' lives or their families' lives or my family's life. But I have seen the worst of people because
Hmm.
people have neglected it. They have chose to ignore it, and the the level of negligence, it's it's painful. It's very painful. And I thought that people were better than this, but
And
if there's a
also,
pandemic,
not
they will
just
not help.
this.
Especially the Pakistani people, they have chosen not to help in any
Mhm.
way possible. Sad.
And also the hoarding and stuff, you couldn't just simply find a simple medicine out there. And then masks went missing, and then sanitizers went missing, and whatnot.
And
You
then the
know,
people they raise the prices of these products. For instance, one mask selling for 5 rupees started selling for 500 rupees. Where is your
yeah.
humanity? Where is your, you know it's just so wrong. It's just so wrong. Like something that can save somebody's life, you would put a price on it. Like just distribute it for free. Let them keep their hands clean. Let them cover their mouths, man. क्या हो जाएगा, कितना पैसा खर्च हो जाएगा? But then again, for us humans, I think hoarding is the thing that we live for, and eventually most of us die sitting in the toilet, and that's about it. That's your entire
Yeah,
life.
and not just this, they even started putting a price on plasma once they found out that recovered
Yep.
patients could donate plasma. And so truly, this has taught us what the real face of people are like, how our society
Yeah,
works.
I'm rather disappointed. You know what? I'm rather disappointed.
Hmm.
But then again, everything happens for a reason. At least I know what kind of people I'm living with. So
Yeah.
now I feel bad for them. I truly feel bad for the world. We have this wonderful, beautiful world, and it is only us who are killing it. We don't get along. We don't get along with our neighbors. Pakistan is not getting along with India. India is not getting along with Pakistan. There is conflict in Palestine and Israel, and then like Yemen is under attack. Saudi is in a war zone. America is always fighting somebody. It's just beyond me that what's wrong with the world. It's such a huge world. You would never be able to occupy it. Even still, with 8 billion people in the world, we only consume about this much of the world. This is how much we occupy. The world
Hmm.
is this big. The world is huge,
And
and we're still fighting
with,
over these crafts, man. Painful.
and with that, I would ask, like, people say art has no boundaries, and you have worked across border. You do have worked across border. So, what kind of experience was it? Like, did you really enjoy it? Did you face any resistance, or what was it?
Uh,
A lot of people say like कि जब हम जाते हैं तो बड़ा वेलकमिंग होता है, कुछ के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा इश्यू होता है, देन बैक होम भी मिक्स्ड किस्म के एक्सपीरियंसेस फीडबैक होता है. So how
all
would
right.
you uh, talk about
If
your
you
experience?
are if you're an artist, the experience would be different from somebody who's not an artist, who's not famous. When I went to India, I wasn't famous, but because I traveled on a business visa and I I was sponsored by an entertainment company, things were different for me, and I was treated like a king, and I loved it there. See there, and they're just not famous, or they're not going through this. They're not sponsored by entertainment companies. They face a different kind of India, which is more skeptical of you being there, doubtful of you being there. So they have a right to, like keep themselves safe. So they keep an eye on you. They keep an eye on me as well. They kept an eye on me, but they kept it in a different way. But when you're not famous and you go through other means, then they look at you differently, because artists are considered to be harmless, because they usually are. And that's why the world is different for us, and people living otherwise, it's a different world for them. And vice versa, when an artist comes to Pakistan from India, they are treated like kings and queens. And when a normal person from India would come to visit Pakistan, maybe his long lost relatives, they would be taken differently. They would be looked upon differently. But then again, I think both countries have this sense of hospitality. Yes, there are uh, bad people everywhere around the world, but they are only this many, like really a small number. But unfortunately, this real small number is the one who are highlighted the most, the real kind and honest living human beings of any country. They are hardly ever highlighted. It's all about highlighting. Whatever is highlighted on this media and the social media, that becomes the news. And this
Hmm.
is how the world sees you. You know, just like, for instance, Pakistan is thought of as one of those dangerous countries. But then again, not every Pakistani is like one of them weird peoples. Of course, there are going to be some bad people here. They're real messed up people in New Zealand, Holland, America, UK, you name it. There are murderers everywhere. There are rapists everywhere. But not everybody is a murderer and not everybody is a rapist. So there's always this small number, the bad apples. They're smaller in number, but then
Hmm.
again, the media, because of their other agendas, they put a twist on you and they start naming you, they start branding you.
So overall, like you had really good experience working across border, and your
Absolutely.
patriotism wasn't questioned.
Of course not.
You went through this. No,
For
this
instance,
happens like
if I were in
unfortunately,
India,
like you said.
I'm a Pakistani. I'm a Pakistani.
Hmm.
I was in India. I have to respect India and I have to respect and admire their hospitality that they gave me.
Hmm.
But that doesn't change my what you call it, my loyalty towards my country. I love my country. It's my
Hmm.
country. My mother is from here, so I have to love it. It's my mom. It's my mother. My country is my mother.
Hmm.
So I love it. But having said that, it doesn't mean that I cannot love another country or the people of another country. I'm a citizen of this world. This world belongs to me. It is the people. It is the people who have put these boundaries between us. Otherwise, people like me, I belong to everyone and everyone belongs to me. This is my thinking. But because the world
So,
has divided into different countries, I must respect that. And when I'm in a country, I must abide by their laws. And that's what I do.
hmm. And I have a question. Like you have worked in pre-social media life when,
Yeah.
there were channels and youth used to enjoy concerts and, it wasn't really online, and there were CDs and there were cassettes, and now all of a sudden we are in a different world. So how was the transition from that to this? Because we have been those 90s kids who would dance to certain songs and know them by heart, and now there's time that everything is a click away, and we don't really feel वो CDs की collection or वो cassettes and obsessing over your favorite song for days and days.
Yeah.
Now everything dies out like in 2 3 days. How's this entire
All
shift
right.
for you?
First of all, I'm the child of the 80s. I was born in the 80s
Hmm.
and I have seen the 80s, the pre CD era and everything.
Hmm.
And to be very honest, you know what? Back then, things they had a meaning because it took you an effort to go and get yourself that audio that you wanted to listen to. It was not available at your fingertips, nor it was on the internet. So you had to study magazines, you had to study news, you had to know, all right, this is the day when this album is coming out. And then you would go
Hmm.
to the cassette shop and you would go to the music shop and you would be like, has that arrived? Has that arrived? And they would be like, oh, it's all sold out and blah, blah. So you had to deal with that. And the same thing was with the video shops, who were renting out video cassettes. And
Yeah.
of course I knew them, so they would keep my copies saved and everything. But I remember, like, I was so excited when Black or White came out. I was waiting for it months on months, and it came out, and I know that that was the day, so I had to rush to the video center and to get it. It made everything more fun because they were, you had to earn it. There was a sense of earning
Hmm.
something, that you had to work hard for it. It just didn't
Hmm.
come to you this easy that, oh yeah, online dekh lenge, yeah, pirated online ho jayegi. So you had to make an
Hmm.
effort, and then you had these
Hmm.
collections. You could hold on to your music. For instance, like how I'm holding on to this lighter right now, I could hold on to my cassette, and then came the
Hmm.
CDs. So it was something that was physical. It was something that I could touch and hold and feel. I had a connection with it. Now there is no connection
Hmm.
with nothing. It's just a click of the button and you can hear it and you're cool with it. Back then we had made our
Hmm.
collections, like I had the biggest
Hmm.
collection of the movies that I loved, and my friends used to borrow it from me, and also my audio cassettes. So there was this culture of borrowing stuff as well, because not everybody could afford
Hmm.
everything. Some had a better position and they could do something better than others. So it was fun. Now it has become really boring. Like it has
I
truly
agree
become
with
very
that.
boring.
I honestly. I
And
honestly
people
agree to
have
that. And
attention spam is like this. Like on Insta, you cannot upload a video which is longer than 1 minute.
yeah.
That is what has happened to your attention span. Every this social media has made people suffer with attention deficit disorder, ADD.
Hmm. Hmm.
We just cannot
And we
stick to
were
one
cool
thing
with
for longer
having
than
those
15 seconds.
we were cool with having those 3 hours long movies that only came on Eid, and we were
Yep,
okay with watching them on Eid
yep,
days. And most of us would wait for Eid to have a movie on the TV.
yeah.
So, Acha, what was who was your favorite Pakistani singer, um, early 90s or anytime?
Early
Pakistani
90s.
favorite
All
singer?
right. Pakistani favorite singer मेरे जो थे I don't know, since a very young age I have always loved Tufail Niazi Saab. I'm sure you must not know of
Hmm.
him,
Yes, I
but he
know
was
of
like
him.
a,
Niazi
I'm
brothers,
glad.
Lai Bekatranar
Yeah.
Yari,
Oh, I love you
Toot Ki
for that
Tadaka.
because not that many people know of Tufail Niazi Saab. And since I was a child, I loved the way he used to sing, and I was just a fan of his. Even though I never understood his music, but I just
Hmm.
loved him. And then came Sajad Ali,
Hmm.
and of
Of
course
course,
Sajad Ali. I think yeah, it has to be Sajad Bhai.
Chief
In my
Saab,
90s, it was
Bevia, Lariada,
because you know why?
all those.
Because in those times there were some other bands and singers who were decent singers, but Sajad Ali Bhai was something else. But he kept his marvelous singing to a level that I could understand it. He did not do his that thing more. He kept it simple.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So yeah,
And
it has to be
still
Sajad Ali Bhai.
those songs, they are evergreen.
Oh yes, 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 yes. The first time I saw his baby, it was such an amazing feeling for me because prior to that I've heard the Khalid's original Didi. So I've heard that song, and all of a sudden,
I would
this
agree with
song
you
comes
for
up.
that because he's my favorite singer as well. And I
Yeah.
still, listen to his songs, Chief Saab and Lariada and uh, Pyar Nasiba Nar Milda Hazur hai.
Oh, I've heard that song so many
That's
times.
like one of my
Soni
favorite.
lagdi ho mainu soni
I
lagdi.
don't know, it's cool hits. So,
Yeah.
mm,
There is like a long delay. Are you there?
mm. So Sajad Ali, having said that, uh, favorite actor,
Favorite
Pakistani or
actor?
any
Unfortunately, I never
favorite
really
actor.
watched Pakistani movies. I was more into Hollywood movies growing up, and back then when I was younger, I think.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm asking you who is your favorite actor?
Whoa, that's a long delay. Anyhow, uh, I I love Jackie Chan, to be very honest. I used to love his movies. They were very entertaining. It had so much action in it, and he acted so well, and he directed those movies so well, and he was such a huge inspiration in my life. So I think it has to be Jackie Chan when I was younger.
Hmm. And now has it changed? Or you still go back?
Now,
Like
now
I
it
am a
has changed.
very
This is
nostalgic
cool.
sort of person. I still go back to the old stuff and watch it or listen to it. I
I
don't know if
watched
it's the same with you.
Jackie Chan movies still every year. I have to watch his movies again and again, and yeah, I think it was Jackie Chan when I was younger, but when I grew up a little, then people changed. And of course, I started admiring so many other people. And, I don't think that I could just have one person other than Jackie Chan. I cannot name because I speak of Jackie Chan because he had this impact on me. Like he inspired me, just how Michael Jackson inspired me. So I am having favorites like right now. There's so many marvelous, wonderful actors, and I'm not undermining them. I'm just saying that these are the people who have had an impact on me growing up. So it was mainly Jack Chan and Michael Jackson, Steven Tyler from
Hmm.
Aerosmith. They have an impact on me.
So while you were doing and acting, my internet acting up and me giving nice moves, uh, could you please sing your favorite lines for the audience, like just one or two? Any. It can be yours or koi pasand ka gana. If you could just sing for the audience.
Okay, what I can do is I can sing you my song, and then I can also sing you a cover if you like. Would that be okay? All right. What song should I sing?
Any that you like.
Original or cover?
That's your choice. Whatever you feel like in this moment.
In this moment. Uh, all right. Let me just sing my original, Dard Din Hai, and then we can take it from there.
Perfect.
बेचैनियां हैं, सांसें रुकी हैं, तन्हाइयों में तेरी कमी है, आंखों में आंसू थमते नहीं हैं, कैसे हैं ये पल कटते नहीं हैं, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में। ऐसे भी हम जिएंगे कभी सोचा ही नहीं, जो सपने टूट जाए वो जुड़ते फिर नहीं, डसती है यादों की परछाइयाँ तेरी, आवारा इस दिल की कोई मंजिल ही नहीं, साहिल से ये लहरें क्यों होती है जुदा, आंखों के ये आंसू तुझे देते हैं सदा, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में, दर्द तन्हाई में. There's a delay again.
Beautiful. So this was really beautiful. I got so much into it.
Oh, thank you very much.
So I totally loved it, and I hope, despite my internet acting up and things going on, you enjoyed the conversation because I totally loved it. And
Yeah,
it
it
was
was a pleasure.
wonderful
It was
knowing that
wonderful.
someone is out there who didn't get the fame to his head and is still more human and more practical and more close to his roots. So it was great knowing um, it was great knowing Nouman Javed beyond screen because that's what I've only known before that. I just knew you on screen. So the off screen guy is really impressive. Lovely talking to you. And I'm sorry about this internet thingy acting up, but I think this was supposed to happen. I enjoyed my MJ moves and I loved your insight on life. And I hope our audience enjoyed it too. Lovely having you, and I hope to have you again. And we can continue the
Definitely.
conversation because this would go on for hours and hours. This hasn't,
Yeah.
there wasn't anything, it wasn't supposed to stop. So,
Yeah.
guys, lovely having Numan Javed, and I hope you guys enjoyed as well. Thank you so much for bearing with me today. I apologize to all my audience, and I
It's perfectly fine. It's just perfectly fine. It was pleasure being here. You guys doing a marvelous job, and this internet
apologize to
thingy.
Numan as well.
Nah, please don't, please don't, please don't. It was just a pleasure being here.
So, guys, thank you so much for your time and
ये शाखें हैं कांटों से सजी, मिटने से ना मिटेगी दिल